Welcome to another episode of the Complete Performance Exercise Breakdown, where I take different exercises, load you up with the necessary technique to perform it, give you some tips and strategies for applying it to your programming, and offer some advice on how to minimize risk for injury and limit pain. Today's exercise is a combination of three exercises. We're actually going to break down three different styles of push-ups because we're at home and we're looking for variation, and push-ups is one of those exercises that variations are abundant. But I'm going to break down the three most common variations of push-ups and offer some of the benefits of each of these. So we have incline push-ups, regular push-ups, and decline push-ups. They're all great for you and can really add benefit to your training so long as you know when to perform them and how to do them best. So let's go incline push-up first. Now, incline push-up, when you incline your hands on a surface, the higher up that incline gets, the easier a push-up gets. This is one of the best modifications to give to people who have some shoulder pain, some elbow pain, or maybe are weaker in their upper body yet. So incline push-ups. Hands go on a bench, they can go on a stair, maybe a chair or a box, but hand position doesn't change. You don't want to be way out wide. You don't want to be in too close. You want hands just outside of the chest. You want to tighten with the core, pull shoulder blades down, and lower toward the bench. Hands or elbows are going to be at 45-degree or tighter, pulled into that body. Hips don't drop out of the bottom, and squeezing through that back as you lower. Incline push-ups are going to target lower into the pecs, lower in your chest here, and they're actually going to get your back a little bit more because we're taking the stress off of those shoulders, the front parts of those shoulders. Now, let's go to regular, traditional push-ups. Traditional push-ups, plenty of variations that you can do with hand placement. But for me personally, and for a lot of my clients, what I like to do is I like to have them start down on the floor, place hands just outside of the chest. For me personally, I'll make sure I can just barely reach my outside of my chest with my thumbs, and I'm going to make sure that my elbows are tucked at a good position where they're not tucked in tight, but they're also not out wide. And I'm going to squeeze with my glutes, squeeze with my core, press hard into the floor, and raise myself up. Slowly lower down to the floor and repeat. Now, with the push-up on the floor, you're targeting your chest evenly. You're still going to hit the front part of the shoulder. You're still going to hit some of that back because as you lower, you're squeezing those muscles in your back as you descend. But you're going to hit your chest pretty evenly. Unlike an incline push-up where you hit a little bit lower in your chest, you're going to hit that pec major, that pec minor at a pretty even pace. Third variation of push-ups is the decline push-up. This is going to be the hardest variation. This is where your feet are going to be elevated up onto a surface. You're going to have your hands on the floor. Hand position is going to remain the same. We want those elbows 45 degrees or tighter to that body, and we're going to lower down to the floor and back up. Squeezing that back as we press down, keeping core tight. Now, with the decline push-up, it is the hardest variation because think of it, you're inclining those feet, which then shifts the force and the amount of weight supported by your upper body into that upper body. So you're actually going to hit higher into that chest than you would for an incline or a regular push-up, and you're going to hit the front parts of your delts more. It does take pressure off of the back, but at the cost of adding more to the chest, which sometimes is a weaker area for some of us. Now, common mistakes for any of these three push-up variations is elbow positioning. Elbow positioning is a big piece. You can have those hands nice and tight, but those elbows can be way out here. Now, if you look at my hands, here, that means a lot of this pressure is going to the outer part of my hand, outer part of my arm. That's going to be really stressful on that wrist. It's going to be really stressful on the elbow, which then translates all the way up to the shoulder. So keep those elbows. That's why that 45-degree or tighter angle is going to be better for your push-up position. Other thing I see is a lot of low back staying behind in that push-up. When I'm down at the bottom, I'm going to give a good squeeze to my glutes, pull my belly belly button in before I push up on every rep. That makes sure that I'm pushing up evenly and that my low back doesn't rotate or extend to put me at risk for back pain. Last and most important is how we push up off of the floor. A lot of people think it's just a raise and lowering of your body from the floor, but push-ups, pushing into that floor, think about shoving that floor away from you, really gets maximum contraction of those pecs, of those chest muscles. So push-up variations, beneficial in many ways and great for utilizing in different training programs so that you don't hurt the shoulders, you don't target or emphasize use of one muscle group more than the other. So mix and match. Add different sets of different variations of push-ups so that you can strengthen your entire upper body versus one specific section. Thanks for checking out this episode of the Exercise Breakdown. Check out next week's episode for more tips and techniques on